Greetings, all fans. Welcome to Legaleze 101. This is episode 4, and it's about underinsured motorist coverage. Now, this subject is near and dear to my heart because it can literally make or break a claim against a negligent driver in North Carolina personal injury law, so I think it's really important for you to understand. So, what is underinsured motorist coverage? I'm so glad you asked. Let's go to Black's Law Dictionary and see what they say. Such insurance provides for situations in which offending motorist does not carry enough coverage to pay damages incurred by the injured party. Now, the definition does go a little bit longer in Black's Law Dictionary, but this is one of those rare circumstances in this dictionary where I think they actually do lay it out in pretty easy to understand terms. But the definition really needs a little bit more fleshing out, I think. Heck, before I started practicing personal injury law, I didn't know what underinsured motorist coverage was, so I think it's worth doing a full episode on it. You guys who are familiar with this series will understand that I like to do things by example, so let's start with an example. Most drivers in North Carolina are going around with what we call a minimum limits policy, meaning it's the minimum that they're allowed to carry legally in North Carolina. That's a 30/60 policy. We call it 30/60 because it allows you to access $30,000 per person, $60,000 per accident against that driver. So let's say that person with the minimum policy limits, which are most drivers in North Carolina, say that person runs you over and they break up everything in your body and you have hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical bills. The maximum that their insurance company has to pay you is $30,000. That's it. No matter how bad your damages are, no matter how badly you're hurt, no matter what your medical bills are, the maximum their insurance company has to pay you is $30,000. The only way you're going to get more from that negligent driver is by suing them and going after their assets personally. Now, in North Carolina, you can't take their primary residence, so that really leaves extra property that they have lying around that might be worth executing a judgment on. But the reality is that most people who are driving around with minimum policy limits don't have a few extra beach homes and boats and RVs and whatnot that you can go and execute a judgment on. So you just may be stuck no matter what. That's where your UIM coverage comes in. UIM, underinsured motorist coverage, that's the acronym we use. So if I say UIM, that's what I'm talking about. That's coverage that you buy from your own insurance agent. And it's mandatory in North Carolina under most circumstances. There are ways that you might choose not to get it, but I don't see why you would do that. So on most policies, you're going to have it. And it's something, like I said, that you purchase as part of your policy. So let's go a little deeper into that example. Let's say you have what's called a 50-100 policy, meaning $50,000 per person, $100,000 per accident. Then you should have access to $50,000 in UIM coverage, underinsured motorist coverage. So in that previous example, the person who has the minimum limits policy, if they hit you, then the maximum that you can get from their insurance coverage is $30,000, and we can assume that they don't have any assets worth going after, and so the most you're ever going to get from the negligent driver's side is $30,000. Well, then your insurance company can step up and pay an extra $20,000 on top of their $30,000 to equal the $50,000 in coverage that you have. That's the underinsured motorist coverage, and that's why it's so important for you to have that. So what's the moral of the story? Get UIM coverage if you don't have it, and if you do have it, make sure you have enough. Now, insurance agents are the experts in this situation, and they're the persons you should be speaking to when you try to figure out how much insurance coverage you should have. But I can tell you this, I know a lot of personal injury attorneys, and I don't know any who hasn't gone out to buy at least $1 million in extra UIM coverage, because we know it can happen whenever knucklehead driver out there is driving around with his $30,000 policy, runs you over, cripples you, and all he's ever going to be responsible for is $30,000, and that's not even him, that's his insurance company. So protect yourself, get some extra UIM coverage. It's very, very important. So if we go a little deeper into that example, you can say, let's say I have $1 million in UIM coverage. Well, you get hit by the $30,000 policy holder, well, guess what? You have up to $1 million in coverage, not 30. Big stinking difference. You're going to want some UIM coverage, so talk to your insurance carrier about that. Go get it. Go get it now. So, thanks for joining me again today. I hope you learned something useful. And remember, if you have an injury claim in North Carolina and you want some advice on it, give me a call. 919-929-2992 or 888-929-5241. Thanks again. Have a good one.